Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Former Warriors duo endure nightmare debut for new team. After 5 memorable years with the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins officially made his debut with the Miami Heat on Monday following last week's blockbuster Jimmy Butler trade. It wasn't necessarily a notable debut performance from Wiggins though, nor for fellow former Warrior Kyle Anderson, who was also involved in the huge multi-team trade on Wednesday. Wiggins started in positive fashion, finding himself fouled by Derek White on a three-point attempt in the very first possession of the game. The 2022 All-Star would make all 3 free throws, before knocking down his first field goal with a wing three just minutes later. Wiggins finished his first stint as a Miami player with 6 points to help the hosts to a 18-10 lead, but it was all downhill from there as the reigning champions took control and pulled away for a comfortable 103-85 victory. The Canadian had just 5 points from that moment on, with Wiggins finishing his Heat debut with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists on 3 of 12 shooting from the floor and 2 of 8 from three-point range. Wiggins was a -22 in just over 30 minutes, and after a strong start defensively, struggled to contain Jason Tatum, who he famously guarded so well in the 2022 NBA Finals. The Celtics superstar finished with a game-high 33 points on 13 of 26 shooting in his team's 18-point win. Anderson also struggled in his first game in a Miami uniform, going scoreless and missing all 5 shots, 0 of 1 from 3, in less than 10 minutes. The veteran forward was a -14 in the game, and it will now be interesting to see how Anderson's minutes play out after he received a slew of DNPs late in his brief tenure with Golden State. Playing without All-Star guard Tyler Herro, the Heat were anemic offensively in shooting just 33.7% from the floor and 24.4% from beyond the arc. Asking Wiggins to be a primary scorer/shot creator in the absence of Herro isn't really ideal, particularly when Bam Adebayo also goes 6 of 17 from the floor in 34 minutes. That's arguably the biggest reason the Warriors made the Butler-Wiggins trade, clearly feeling they need that secondary go-to-scorer to provide more reliable support for Stephen Curry. The trade has paid immediate dividends for Golden State, with Butler playing a huge role in back-to-back victories over the Chicago Bulls and Milwaukee Bucks. Following Luka Doncic's trade to the Los Angeles Lakers, suddenly everything seemed possible and every player felt available. Someone who found his name in the headlines unexpectedly was Kevin Durant. The Golden State Warriors were believed to be interested in a reunion with Durant, and while he was not keen on a return to the Bay Area, there were other teams who seemingly tried their luck as well. One of them was the Miami Heat. In fact, some rumors cropped up which suggested that Durant would be open to the idea of playing there. Of course, this was not the first time that the Heat were linked with Durant. They were believed to be one of the teams in the running before his move to the Warriors, and once again, when he moved to the Brooklyn Nets. While speaking to NBA on ESPN, Shams Charania shared that the Heat potentially had a window to go after Durant. They offered Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson, which was not enough to get a deal done. The Suns were interested in trading for Butler this summer but could not engineer a suitable trade. Durant stayed put in Phoenix. Butler did end up leaving Miami though and joined the Warriors, where he was handed a big money 2-year extension and made a winning start to life in the Bay Area against one of his former teams, the Chicago Bulls. As for the Heat, considering the circumstance that they had found themselves in, they would be happy with the return that they got out of the Butler trade as well. The Heat received Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, P.J. Tucker, and a 2025 first-round pick, protected, Warriors. Dwayne Wade strongly advises J.J. Redick to cut Luka Doncic's minutes. Earlier on in his NBA career, Miami Heat legend Dwayne Wade consistently saw a whole lot of playing time. He averaged 36-plus minutes of action per game in 6 of his first 7 seasons in the league. But as Wade got up there in age, Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra began to roll back the guard's minutes. After the 2010-11 campaign, Wade never averaged more than 34.7 minutes per game in any one season in Miami, yet he was still a very productive player and earned 6 more All-Star nods with the Heat. Wade has called on Los Angeles Lakers head coach J.J. Redick to follow Spoelstra's modus operandi and cut Doncic's minutes so that the storied franchise can get the best out of the Slovenian. "This is a conversation that I had with SPO over the years, and I didn't like it," Wade said. "Because as a player, you want to be out there your max minutes. But as I got a little, not older in my 30s, but as I started getting older, SPO would take my minutes down, and he was like, you're going to be more productive in the least amount of minutes because you out there getting rest because you're doing so much on offense. So, I gotta look at JJ, and I gotta say, JJ, you have to make sure that you looking at Luka not just because he's so great with the ball that you just keeping him on the floor all the time. You may have to cut back Luka's minutes a little bit. Doesn't mean his scoring gonna go down, 'cause he scores at a high clip anyway." Considering the Lakers earned a blowout victory over the Utah Jazz on Monday, Doncic didn't play all that much in his team debut, at least not for a player who averages 34.9 minutes per game for his NBA career. The floor general logged less than 24 minutes of action and finished with 14 points on 5 of 14 shooting from the floor and 1 of 7 from deep in his first game playing alongside forward LeBron James. Though Doncic is only 1 game into his Lakers tenure, Redick has done a good job of heeding Wade's advice to this point. It's within the realm of possibility that Doncic won't play an overwhelming amount in the next game on the Lakers' schedule either. Los Angeles will take on the Jazz once again on Wednesday, and that game has the potential to be another lopsided affair with Utah owning the second-worst record in the West. It'll be worth keeping tabs on how many minutes Doncic will average in a Lakers uniform this season in light of all of the question marks surrounding his commitment to being in shape during his time with the Dallas Mavericks. Perhaps Doncic will be extra motivated to be in peak physical condition moving forward in light of all the reports that surfaced after he was dealt to the Lakers indicating that he had conditioning issues with his old team. Why Miami Heat decided against Kevin Durant trade move. The Miami Heat have been trying to sign Kevin Durant for a long time. In 2016, they had a meeting with him before he decided to join the Golden State Warriors. Then, they tried again in 2019 when the 2-time Finals MVP left the Bay Area for the Brooklyn Nets. The Durant to Miami rumors cropped up once again before the recent trade deadline, but once again, nothing ended up materializing. This time around, it looks like it was Miami who decided not to make a push even though it is believed that Durant would have been open to playing for the Heat. According to a report from Ramona Shelburne and Brian Windhorst on ESPN, Durant to Miami was there to be done, and the teams traded proposals. But the Suns were seeking significant compensation for the player and the Heat felt they would be mortgaging their future by going down the path with the 36-year-old didn't move forward in the talks. With Tyler Herro finally making the leap that everybody has been waiting for, it looks like the Heat might be ready for a change in direction. Herro and Bam Adebayo might very well be the dual faces of the franchise moving forward. On the other hand, they did land a pretty decent return from the Jimmy Butler trade, considering the difficult circumstances they had found themselves in leading up to the trade deadline. The Heat ended up receiving Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, P.J. Tucker and a 2025 first-round pick, protected, Warriors. Butler ended up getting what he wanted as well. While he did not end up on the Suns, he joined the Golden State Warriors and agreed a 2-year contract extension with them. The Warriors are 2-0 since the arrival of Butler, as it looks like his combination with Stephen Curry has breathed new life into their faltering season. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Kevin Durant? Leave your opinion in the comments.